Some roads promise adventure. Others promise your obituary. From icy mountain passes that claw at your tires to ocean bridges lashed by furious waves, these are no Sunday drives. In this countdown, we reveal the 15 most dangerous roads on Earth. You won't believe who's at the top. Buckle up, keep your eyes on the edge, and meet our first contender. Number 1. North Yungas Road, Bolivia. They call it Death Road for a reason. North Yungas Road slices through Bolivia's mountains like a scar. 64 kilometers of narrow dirt and gravel perched on cliffs that drop over 600 meters straight down. Imagine a snake slithering along the edge of a table. Just one wrong flick and it tumbles. The elevation swings from over 4,650 meters at La Cumbre Pass to steaming jungle at 1,200 meters. Fog thick as smoke smothers drivers. Rain turns the path into slime. Landslides roar down with no warning. No guardrails. Just raw, ragged rock on one side and empty air on the other. This isn't your Sunday drive. It's where buses and trucks once tangled in standoffs on curves barely wider than a car. Locals say hundreds died each year before new highways eased the load. But the ghost stories linger. One cyclist wrote, "My heart was in my throat the whole time. The road felt alive, ready to swallow me." Images show green mountains veiled in mist, crosses nailed at every hairpin, grim memorials for those who didn't make it. Even today, thrill seekers line up to ride it for kicks. But there's no promise you'll come back in one piece. And if you think that's bad, wait until you see what's coming in the next section. Number 2. Guoyang Tunnel Road, China. They carved it out by hand. Literally. The Guoyang Tunnel Road clings to China's Taihang Mountains like a stubborn vine refusing to fall. Stretching just 1.2 kilometers, this narrow tunnel sits around 1,200 meters above sea level. But don't let the short length fool you. It's paved, yes, but the walls are jagged rock with windows hacked open for light, like monster eyes peering out into the abyss. The weather flips from clear skies to sudden fog, and rain turns the road slick as soap. Landslides can roar down with no warning, blocking the only lifeline to the tiny village above. "I felt like I was driving through a dragon's throat," one visitor said. You see sheer cliffs outside the windows. The tunnel itself is only about 4 meters high and 5 meters wide, tight enough to make buses creep like snails. No official death count sits on record, but locals know of crashes where vehicles just didn't stop. Tourists flock here for photos of the stone-cut windows framing dizzying drops. Government advisories say drive carefully, and they mean it. The villagers built it for survival. But for travelers, it's a dare written in stone. And if you think tunnels are bad, wait until you see the next road, where ice, wind, and nothingness make every mile a gamble. Number 3. James Dalton Highway, Alaska, USA. This is the road that laughs at your plans. The James Dalton Highway stretches 666 kilometers through Alaska's frozen wild, from Fairbanks to Deadhorse, hugging the Arctic Circle. It's mostly gravel and dirt, with potholes deep enough to swallow tires whole. Elevation ranges wildly, with Adigan Pass topping 1,444 meters and greeting you with hairpin turns that ice over like glass in winter. Blizzards sweep in so fast you can't see your own hood. The temperature drops to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Trucks barrel along, spraying rocks like bullets. One driver said, "The road punishes mistakes. There's no one to save you out here." Locals know about the rollovers and frozen wrecks. No guardrails, no gas stations for over 400 kilometers, no mercy. Official warnings say only well-prepared travelers should even try. Freight haulers dominate it, dragging supplies to the oil fields. Their convoys like mechanical caterpillars crawling across endless white. Photos show a pale ribbon cutting through dark mountains and snowy emptiness, under skies that can turn from calm blue to angry gray in minutes. This road is a test of grit. But if you think the cold is merciless, wait for the next section, where cliffs and canyons threaten to swallow you whole. Number 4. Skipper's Canyon Road, New Zealand. This road doesn't forgive. Skipper's Canyon Road twists for about 22 kilometers through New Zealand's South Island, slashed into sheer rock high above the Shotover River. Elevation hovers around 600 meters, but it's the drop that counts. Vertical cliffs that plummet like a guillotine if you stray an inch too far. It's a narrow gravel track with hairpin turns so tight you can almost shake hands with your tailgate. Rain turns it into sludge, landslides tumble without warning, and there's no room for passing. No guardrails. "I felt my heart beat in my ears," one driver wrote. Rental car companies often ban their vehicles from this route because tow trucks can't even get in. What's that mean? Official warnings call it dangerous for inexperienced drivers. Locals use it for tourism, but it's not for the faint-hearted. The road was born in the gold rush days, and the cliffs look carved with an angry chisel. Photos show golden canyons under wild skies, with a road like a thread clinging desperately to the walls. It's a place where one slip isn't just a mistake, it's a story that ends at the riverbed. But if you think these cliffs are scary, wait for the next road, where ice, wind, and mountain passes will leave your teeth chattering. Number 5. Zojila Pass, India. They say Zojila Pass is the gate to the roof of the world, and it sure feels like it's trying to throw you off. This high-altitude road stretches about 25 kilometers through the Himalayas at a lung-burning 3,528 meters. It's a paved but battered mountain pass lined with hairpin turns that wind like a snake through cliffs and loose rock. Snow buries it for half the year. Even in summer, fog rolls in thick as cotton, hiding trucks that weave along ledges barely wider than your car. Landslides thunder down without warning. One driver shared, "I felt like one slip would send me flying into the clouds." The Indian Army relies on it for moving troops and supplies into Ladakh, making traffic heavy and tense. No official death toll is posted, but wreckage litters some bends, a reminder of what happens when you blink. Government advisories warn travelers to stay updated on weather reports. Photos show green valleys and white peaks split by a black ribbon of road, often lined with trucks at impossible angles. It's like walking a tightrope in a blizzard. This pass tests nerve and patience. But if you think this was tough, get ready for the next road, where two countries build a highway through landslides and avalanches to prove a point. Number 6. Karakoram Highway, Pakistan, China. This is the road they call the Eighth Wonder. The Karakoram Highway runs over 1,300 kilometers between Pakistan and China, slicing through the towering Karakoram Range like a defiant scar. At Kunjarab Pass, it climbs to 4,693 meters, where the air is thin and biting cold. It's paved, but don't be fooled. It's cracked, buckled, and torn by landslides that drop like hammers from the cliffs. Winters bury it under heavy snow. Summers bring rockfalls and rushing floods. The highway threads past hairpin turns, tunnels, and dizzying drop-offs that make your stomach knot. Drivers see rivers churning far below and mountains clawing at the sky. A traveler once said, "It felt like the road was fighting me every second." Accidents? Hard to count. Trucks roll. Cars skid off cliffs. The route is vital for trade and tourism, with convoys of freight and curious visitors risking it for the breathtaking views. Government advisories warn about weather and political tensions in some regions. Photos show icy peaks crowned with clouds, valleys so deep they seem to swallow the sun. It's like shaking hands with giants and daring them to crush you. But if you think these mountains are menacing, hold on tight. Next is a road so narrow and raw it feels alive, waiting to throw you off at the slightest mistake. Number 7. Fairy Meadows Road, Pakistan. They say it's called Fairy Meadows because it's beautiful at the end, but getting there feels like flirting with danger. The Fairy Meadows Road crawls for about 16 kilometers in northern Pakistan, carved into the shoulder of Nanga Parbat, the world's 9th highest peak. Elevation climbs from around 2,000 meters to over 3,300 meters. It's a raw dirt and gravel track with no guardrails, hugging cliffs that drop hundreds of meters into rocky valleys. Rain turns it into slippery clay. Rockfalls crash down like angry fists. The road is barely wide enough for a jeep. Hairpin turns force drivers to back up and inch forward with hearts pounding. "It felt like the mountain was trying to shake me off," said one visitor. Official travel warnings call it dangerous for unskilled drivers, and locals use sturdy jeeps while tourists often walk the final stretch. Accidents? Few stats exist, but stories of jeeps tipping or sliding off keep even the brave awake at night. The views are staggering. Green alpine meadows, glaciers hanging like frozen waterfalls, Nanga Parbat towering in white. It's like staring at a painting while balancing on a thread. But if you think this remote path is wild, just wait until the next section, a pass that zigzags through the Andes with switchbacks that will make your head spin. Number 8. Death Road of Los Caracoles Pass, Chile, Argentina. They call it Los Caracoles, the snails, because the road coils and twists like a snake that refuses to lie still. This stretch runs about 29 kilometers through the Andes between Chile and Argentina, climbing to over 3,200 meters. Paved but battered by ice and snow, it features a dizzying series of over 20 tight hairpin turns with no guardrails to catch you if you slip. Winter storms dump tons of snow, blocking lanes and making ice patches that gleam like glass. Landslides rumble down with no warning. Trucks crawl in convoys, their engines growling as they struggle up steep grades. "It felt like playing chess with death at every turn," said one driver. Official advisories warn travelers to check weather before crossing, and it often closes entirely during heavy snow. Accidents? Plenty, though exact numbers stay hushed. Overloaded freight haulers sometimes topple on bends, and wreckage can sit for weeks. Yet it's vital, a main freight artery connecting Santiago and Mendoza. Photos show barren, rocky slopes striped with a winding road like a giant's careless doodle. It's beautiful and cruel at once, a reminder that mountains don't share space easily. But if you think these hairpins are bad, wait until you see the next road, where Turkey's remote cliffs turn every bend into a dare. Number 9. Bayburt D915 Road, Turkey. They say Bayburt D915 isn't just a road. It's a dare written into the mountains. This brutal route runs about 106 kilometers in northeastern Turkey, climbing to elevations over 2,300 meters. Unpaved and raw, it snakes around cliffs with 29 notorious hairpin turns carved into the mountain without a single guardrail. It feels like threading a needle while the wind tries to slap your hands away. Weather is no friend here. Heavy snow seals it in winter, and when it melts, landslides roar down like angry beasts. Rain turns the track to greasy mud, forcing drivers to fight for control. One driver said, "My hands shook on the wheel the whole way." No official stats track how many have fallen off the edge, but locals know it claims lives every year. Used for local access and daredevil tourism, it's officially open seasonally but closes with the first heavy snows. Government warnings call it extremely dangerous. Photos show a thin brown line etched against vertical green cliffs and endless sky. It's beautiful in that scary way, like a wild animal that might smile before it bites. If you think this was reckless, just wait for the next stretch, where China's towering passes and rockfalls will challenge every nerve you have. Number 10. Sichuan, Tibet Highway, China. This is the road that dares you to breathe at 4,000 meters while it tries to knock you off. The Sichuan-Tibet Highway runs over 2,000 kilometers from Chengdu to Lhasa, climbing and plunging through the Himalayas like a dragon twisting through the clouds. It's paved in places, but don't relax. It crumbles to gravel where landslides chew away entire lanes. The weather is wild. One moment clear blue, the next black clouds spit hail or dump feet of snow. Ice grips the narrow passes even in summer. Hairpin turns hug cliffs so tight you feel your heart jump at every squeal of the brakes. "It was like the mountains wanted to push me off," said one trucker. Rockfalls, mudslides, flash floods, they don't ask permission. Official warnings tell travelers to expect delays and closures. This highway is a lifeline, moving freight, tourists, and locals alike. But every year sees accidents. Buses tumbling down ravines, trucks crushed under landslides. Photos show deep valleys cut by roaring rivers, prayer flags whipping in the wind over lonely passes. It's beautiful and mean, like a lion that purrs before it bites. But if you think altitude and ice are enough to scare you, wait for the next section, where Taiwan's twisting gorge road carves through rock like a blade and dares you not to flinch. Number 11. Taroko Gorge Road, Taiwan. They say Taroko Gorge Road feels like a knife slicing through the rock, and that's not far off. This twisting stretch is about 19 kilometers of paved terror in eastern Taiwan, carved right into marble cliffs that soar hundreds of meters above the roaring Liwu River. Elevation varies but climbs steeply through. Number 12. Stelvio Pass, Italy. They call Stelvio Pass the king of switchbacks. It's a 24-kilometer ribbon of tight, paved hairpins that zigzag up the Italian Alps to a dizzying 2,757 meters. Imagine a giant staircase, 48 numbered turns stacked one after another, clinging to cliffs with nothing but empty space on one side. Summer sun bakes the asphalt, but even then, patches of ice linger in shadowy corners. Rain brings slick curves. In winter, the pass closes completely under thick snowdrifts. Drivers must wrestle narrow lanes while sports cars and motorcycles roar by like angry wasps. "My palms were soaked from gripping the wheel," one tourist said. Accidents do happen. Vehicles tumbling off edges or crumpling in head-on collisions on blind bends. It's officially worn for its difficulty, yet every year thrill seekers line up to conquer it. Photos show cars crawling like ants up bare rock faces under skies so clear they feel endless. It's hypnotic and mean at once, a sculptor's work made to challenge you. This is more than a road. It's a dare written in asphalt. But if you think European elegance softens the danger, wait until the next section, where Norway's coastal winds and ocean waves threaten to swallow you whole. Number 13. Atlantic Ocean Road, Norway. This road doesn't just cross the sea, it dares the sea to fight back. The Atlantic Ocean Road stretches about 8.3 kilometers across Norway's ragged coastline, a paved line of bridges and causeways leaping from island to island. The star is the Storsøysundet Bridge, an arch that seems to toss cars into the air before dropping them back to earth, like a roller coaster with no rails. The North Atlantic slams it with storms that send waves crashing over the road itself. Winds can howl at 30 meters per second, making cars shake like toys. Icy winter gusts turn bends into skating rinks. One driver said, It felt like the ocean was trying to swallow me whole. While accident rates stay low thanks to Norwegian engineering, locals know you don't cross during a gale unless you want to be part of the scenery. Official travel guides call it scenic but warn drivers to watch weather forecasts closely. Photos show silver-gray bridges curving over black water, foam exploding in white fury against rocks. It's like nature's own obstacle course, beautiful and wild in the same breath. But if you think sea spray and wind are scary, get ready for the next section, where India's mountain roads test your courage on ledges so narrow they could slice your tires in two. Number 14. Killar to Panji Road via Kishtwar, India. This road doesn't bother pretending it's safe. The Killar to Panji Road via Kishtwar snakes about 114 kilometers through India's Himachal Pradesh at elevations over 2,700 meters, perched on cliffs so sheer you can hear your heartbeat echo off the rock. It's mostly gravel and dirt, blasted into the mountain like a rough scar, with no guardrails to stop you from tumbling into the abyss. Rain turns it into mush. Landslides thunder down without warning, blocking paths and forcing drivers to back up along ledges barely wider than their axles. Hairpin turns? They're tight enough to make you pray. One driver admitted, "I felt like every bend was asking if I really wanted to live." Official warnings? Locals just shake their heads and tell you to be careful. It's used mainly for remote access. There's no easy way out once you're in. Photos show ragged cliffs dropping hundreds of meters into valleys green as emeralds. Trucks inch along like ants on a razor's edge. It's raw, scary, and beautiful all at once, like the mountain is daring you to take just one more step. But if you think this is the final test, hold on, because the next road climbs Romania's spine with curves so tight they might just tie you in knots. Number 15. Transfagarasan Highway, Romania. They call it Romania's greatest road, but it feels like a giant snake wrapping around the Carpathians, waiting to squeeze. The Transfagarasan Highway stretches around 90 kilometers, climbing to 2,042 meters at its highest point. It's fully paved but twists with so many hairpin turns and switchbacks you'll lose count. Carved right into cliffs and through tunnels like the 887-meter-long Capper Tunnel. Summer brings clear skies, but fog can roll in so thick you can't see your hood. Ice clings to shady bends even in warmer months. In winter, heavy snow shuts it completely. Drivers wrestle narrow lanes with no guardrails in places and tight blind corners. One visitor joked, "It was like wrestling a dragon that didn't want to let me go." Official warnings flag sharp turns and changing weather. Locals and tourists use it for thrills, but crashes do happen, from misturns to head-ons. Photos show endless S-curves snaking through green valleys and rugged peaks under moody skies. It's breathtaking and just a little mean, like it's daring you to try. And that's the magic, beauty with a bite. But roads like this remind us, sometimes the hardest paths hold the most reward, if you're brave enough to keep going. These roads aren't just routes, they're raw tests of nerve and survival. As our world gets safer, these paths stubbornly stay wild, reminding us that danger always finds a way. But one thing remains, the thrill of pushing limits. Which of these roads would you dare to drive? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping stories.